Yeah. Okay, I'll call this meeting to order. On the agenda real quick, on the bottom where it says Water Advisory Board, that was mislabeled. This is the Public Works Committee list. That's it's written right here, so go on to roll call now. Mr. Davis. Here. Mr. Hiltzman.
Here.
Mr. Standifer.
Here.
Ms. Parker.
Here.
Mr. Watkins.
Here.
Mr. Woolley.
Here.
And Mr. Sanchez.
Here.
They're all here, so let's go on to item number 2, discussion action items. The first item for discussion is elect of a chairperson, so give it to you.
I would nominate Sammy Standifer as chairman.
You have a nomination for standing for chair. Second by Mr. Davis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None? All right, stand.
Thank you for your confidence.
Mr. Chair, we'll switch it to you now.
Already, like that.
All right, so our next item will entertain a motion to elect a secretary.
Is there anybody who would volunteer for that?
Yes, Parker, I would nominate somebody for person.
Nominate Mrs. Ursula.
I would second that if she's willing.
That's fine.
We have a nomination of Miss Ursula Parker and a second. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
I will send you a corrected agenda template and you'll get the AI minutes and the link. like
Okay.
you Did last time.
Perfect, thank you.
And it's not on the agenda, but next meeting, put it on the agenda to elect the vice chair, just in case you have to miss a meeting or something.
Sure, is there, can we add that in now and do that now?
I don't think we can.
Okay.
Because it wasn't on the
We'll put
agenda.
it on the next.
Yeah.
Item B is orientation, roles, responsibility, and the purpose of our committee. Pat and our staff, I'd like to refer to you for a moment. If you had any comments on that or how you're.
You know, I think it's just basically what it is to define the role of this committee and what needs to be taken to you and how it's to be run, so there's no questions of what we need to take to you guys. And I know we did the same thing with the water board, you know, to define their roles and what needs to be actually taken to them.
Like in what departments, like cemetery, parks, roads, water, which are.
Yeah, I believe since there is actually a committee for water, I would say almost everything except for water.
Yeah, actually, I think the water advisory board. Kind of stepped up and said that they would like to be actually exempt. And that might be a big word, but from the Public Works Committee. So with all things water, it would be the water advisory board, and y'all correct me if I got that wrong. The water advisory board, and then decisions or thoughts from them go right to the city council. As opposed to kind of go back and forth between water and I think the secretary is present, it was in that meeting too, but instead of going back and forth. So they would kind of be separate, and then what we need to kind of start doing with you all is defining what types of work would go to you, through you, and what the process would be. And then when something is processed, synthesized, and ready for delivery to city council, who would be the spokesperson from the Public Works Committee, et cetera. So I think we have to work through those things so we can define the processes and we know what to do on the city side. Does that make sense, or is anybody left in a?
And if I'm right, I don't believe this committee is regulated by ordinance, or is it by resolution, or do you know?
There is a resolution that primarily defines membership and terms of service, and that it has a chair and a vice chair. Which is very light regulation.
Sure. My personal opinion, I think we want to help benefit the staff. We want to help y'all move forward. You know, things like pre-planning, absolutely get a plan in place for truck repairs, whatever. Anything you need additional help from to present that to council, such as outside user request, well, that'd be a water sewer issue maybe. So are we, as the water advisory, are we helping with sewer? Or no water, or it's a water advisory taking that on as well,
Wastewater,
wastewater, yeah.
Wastewater will come under water, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because wastewater ends up being affluent water is water, et cetera. And any, just my understanding from like, Unileague and rules for some capital outlay requests and Water Trust Board is anything to do with water per se goes through Water Trust Board, and therefore, in my opinion, that water is water, whether it's clean, dirty, surface, or ground. Now that's my opinion, doesn't mean that's the rule, that's just my opinion. But to help clarify, let's say something like this, there's no doubt in our minds that the roads are going to require work, right? No one's gonna argue that. But which roads, which ones go first, which ones go second? Who says that one goes first or second? Why do we say that, et cetera? These are the types of things that I believe we need you guys to help us come up with. Right? Is it kind of an economic corridor? Do we focus on downtown and then expand? Do we focus on the outside of the town and work inward? Why? Do we use the main avenues of approach, Highway 70 and a couple others? And then the major feeder roads off of those, which are called the
Collectors.
minor and major collectors. If we do, which ones of those go first and why, those types of things. Otherwise, it's Joe and me or Pat and Joe sitting in a room. Going up a nickel, going to pay, that's 18th Street it is, those types of things.
we talked yesterday about the van. And kind of an AI, it's got cameras and sensors that drive all the
Yeah.
streets and come up with.
So that's something I probably want to present to you guys to get your thoughts and ideas and see if it's worth. The money to. Go with the company that'll come and evaluate all of our streets. And so I would present something to you guys. With what they've told me, and they actually advise that they'd actually give you guys a little presentation themselves. For me right now, I think it's worth it, but put it in front of a committee and have a collective thought on it, you guys are gonna think of other things that I'm not thinking of. So that's what we're trying to get at with these projects, even all the major projects that's going on in town.
Well, I see us as an advisory committee to the city council. And so you bring that stuff to us, we help give you that recommendation, that support to present that to your finance committees.
And the cemetery is gonna be one of the big ones coming up that we need to do. One of the other things I'm trying to develop is a parks plan. A major overall plan for all the parks. And then individual plans for each park. So that way, whenever. Miss McVeigh's over here looking for money, she goes, oh, hey, look. I got this much money, where can I use it? We already have a plan of where it can go without her even thinking about it and just, be part of a plan. So it's just plans like that is what I'm trying to develop throughout the city with all of our departments.
To support a team to the council to lighten up some of the load on council and have council trust their public works committees and other committees as well, planning and zoning and the water advisory, that these committees are bringing them the right solutions in the right direction. There's no doubt that at some point in time, probably water could potentially go to either committee. I mean, a pipe carries water, it runs under a road. But that's where Mr. Mitten and Mr. Geigels determine which committee that they point that stuff to.
At times in the past, we've had concerns brought to us as committee members. Is that something water related that we would want to discuss and send to the water authority for?
I would think so.
Yeah, I would say if it's water related, send it to them.
it would be something we bring here and discuss and it's until.
Or go straight, tell them, recommend them to talk to the Water Advisory Committee.
I would think we utilize the committees that it's specifically for, you know. It's kind of the way my department's built right now. You got water and wastewater run by Chris Mendoza, and then you have the rest of it run by Steve Chavez. So I would say anything that runs, this falls under Steve Chavez runs through you guys, and anything on Mendoza runs through the Water Advisory Board.
Yeah, I concur with that. thought
I
process.
agree with that. I think that would be a good way to go. I think that's what we discussed yesterday or the day before. I don't remember what day we had our meeting, but I think that's kind of the way. I don't want to speak on behalf of everybody else that was on that advisory board, but I think that was the gist of what I took out of it when we finally started talking about everything, was that water advisory wants to focus on water. And so that, you know, whatever that entails, that's what, so anything water related would come to that board.
Yeah,
And I think
And-
Pat hit it just perfect.
there's a couple thought process behind the why. And one of them, and probably the most important, is simply time. Sometimes these things are on a clock. Once we accept a grant or something like that, we are on a clock and we have a certain amount of time to start obligating and executing those funds. And if we have multiple boards that we have to go to, that expands that time. Or has a potential to really expand that time, because we have to line it up with one of your pre-scheduled meetings. And then the water board's pre-scheduled meetings, and then the city council's pre-scheduled meetings. And we could add 6 weeks onto a thing that doesn't need to be added. So for by separating, in my opinion, water and the rest of public works, we cut one of those steps out. The city is working diligently to find not that someone on this board I'm not saying that, but very water oriented and very water experienced people to be on that board or committee. So I think the city's faith is that both sides of public works, water and everything else, will be equally served by just going through one committee as opposed to both.
The one thing here is more, where do we send it? Do we need to take it to Mr. Gallegos if we have a concern brought to us? Or-
I would send it to Mr. Gallegos and he would direct it to Mr.
Or-
Yeah, and we can do it. And it's not to say that we're never gonna have one issue go to both boards, because sometimes that could be an issue, you know, water and the infrastructure and all that, so. Drainage and stuff like that, so. You know, but basically, we do want to keep water where it belongs, in the water, with the water advisory, and everything else will come to you guys for advisory on it.
I will say, Public Works is a magnet for all things in the city. People are gonna come to you. Having just come off of this board, they're gonna come to you for all different reasons. Public Works translation is serving the public, so they're gonna hit you up about things about water. And so it is gonna happen. So directing those to Pat is the best first step.
Good, so, I think we're okay. I guess next we'll discuss our next meeting and the frequencies of those meetings. Be glad to hear from any of the committee or staff. What's your opinion on that? What's your need at the moment? Is it at need, or is it monthly or bi-weekly,
Oh,
or?
you can have it monthly or quarterly. We can quarterly, and we can actually, if you make it quarterly, you can actually do it to where if we need one, we can call a meeting. Or you can set one for monthly, whatever you guys think we do. We do have, I know we have the cemetery coming up, so we're gonna have a big project there. Streets, we're gonna have to meet for streets. You know, because we do have to make a plan for that, so. You know, it's whatever you guys think as a board, but I think monthly probably would be best for right now and then now.
For monthly?
Yeah,
That's what we decided with the water advisory, is we definitely said we knew we wanted a minimum of once a month. And then should the need arise, a special project or a deadline, then call a special meeting.
And we already had to do that in water.
Yeah.
We have a meeting, what, in 2 weeks?
Yeah,
So,
right.
yeah.
Mhm.
I agree with that. I think monthly would be good, especially with how many branches of a committee there is, you know, like we encompass a lot of different things, so meeting at least monthly would be nice.
Okay, do we have a date and time, or do we have a preferred, third or second Tuesday, Monday, or probably not Mondays, please, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Wednesdays, Thursdays.
I would consider, I'm gonna throw this out there. I frankly think for the public works that twice a month is maybe worth looking at. You are gonna, and again, this is not a rule, this is just Scott thinking, okay? But we have parks to consider, parks including cemetery, and then we have roads to consider. Then we have some building things and things like that to consider. And a great deal of grants that are proposed that we chase, i.e. notice of funding opportunities, et cetera, that come through Joe. It's kind of left to us to whether we want to chase them or not, and whatever, for what reasons, and so on. So to consider possibly having pre-scheduled meetings on the second and third, say Tuesday timeframes, Tuesday, Wednesday, doesn't matter to me, but in between the pre-scheduled city council meetings. I think that would give us. There's enough on the public works plate that I believe we'll have to be looking at things quite often. That's one thing. But to which days, I would say the days and the weeks in between the city council meetings, whether we do it once a month or more frequently. If you decided to do these bi-weekly and we went a month or two and we're like, look, there's just nothing to talk about, then we could relook at whatever. But we do, I mean, the majority of what we do is public works, to be honest with you.
Probably enough. For a little while anyways, like you said, to do bi-weekly until. Well,
And I know it's a
then it
grind.
slows down, cause
I know it's a grind, but I gotta tell you what, off the top of my head, I've got a notice of funding opportunities for solar. I've got a notice of funding award for planning for some drainage. I've got a clean and beautiful grant that, and so will probably come up in some way, public works. I mean, just majority of what we do is the public works.
So our councils meet the first and third
And
Tuesdays.
the first and third grant, yeah.
Water advisory should bump into on Tuesdays,
Water advisories on
Thursdays,
Thursdays.
Tuesdays,
water advisory.
yes,
It'll bump it, one of your meetings will bump into them.
right, yes.
So we could do the Thursdays. I have the 12th and the 26th. All Thursdays are pretty clean.
And I honestly see y'all's agendas being fairly robust. I see them coming in action items, right? Action item parks, action item buildings, action item, other, whatever.
And your preliminary budgets, I'm guessing are due in May. So will we be seeing helping your proposals for those budgets for?
Yep, if we can get some of these plans in place in the near future, yes, definitely will.
Well, I definitely think we would like to help, but we also want to propose something that's doable.
Absolutely.
A huge plan that's unachievable. But. So second and fourth Thursdays, is that what your belief is?
I think that's probably about right.
You need a motion,
Yes, please.
I make a motion that we meet the second and fourth.
Thursdays at
And probably 9:30 is the way I've been doing,
9:30 AM.
with the opportunity if at some point we get where items, we don't have items for agenda that we can.
Very good. Did you, so we have a second, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Item passes. Did y'all get that?
Yeah, so you're gonna have a meeting on the 12th. And you'll have a meeting on the 26th of February.
Very good.
I'll send you a calendar.
think I've lost my agenda, so.
If you swipe
Oh,
up
cheers.
from that,
If Sam, I've got a handwritten copy. You wanna pass that down to Sam? I printed one before I
I was
left.
playing with my computer.
it.
Any other questions, concerns, or comments from the committee?
The only thing I have, when Pat talked about his plan for the parks, I thought that would be great for us to have like a public works plan that one of the things I want to talk about here is getting us to where we can blade and build our own roads and chip sealing, because I think we can accomplish that with the county, and I have great relationships with them. I'm right next door to them, and I think we can work hand in foot with them. So that's like one of the reasons why I wanted to be on this committee, because I want us to step into that where we can accomplish some of these roads that we need to fix on our own and save some money not having to hire out and get contractors and
No,
things like that.
absolutely. That's our goal, is to get our streets crew back to where they used to be back in the day. And they could actually go out and do some of this stuff, and, you know, we take the same amount of money, but it'd go a lot longer if our crews are doing it, you know.
Right,
We did start off good. We got a motor grader in.
nice.
Next step is training somebody to drive it.
Yeah,
So, you know, we are basically starting from scratch with fresh crew, and you know, they're gaining the knowledge. And I've already sent a couple to paving and a conference and
Yeah.
looking for schools. So that is the overall goal, is to be able to do some of this road stuff ourselves.
yeah, that's
Do you have a trainer?
No, not yet.
There's a man named Fred Hale here in town. He's retired. Yes, from the base.
Okay.
He did it for 30-something years. He's 74 years old and he's good.
And I can give you his contact
Yeah, if you
information.
could,
He's a
please,
member.
yeah.
Yeah.
So overall, my goal with the motor grader and start training is to get out to the well field. And the roads out there actually need to be repaired and graded. So what better way to learn is to get out there and do our roads out in the field where you can't really hit a whole lot of things. So that's what my goal is with that, but
At our, excuse me. And forgive me, because it's been 5 years, but who's our main funding we go to? We get our funding for roads and stuff from District 2.
yes.
What's the name of those committees? I'm sorry, I can't.
Okay, we do LGRF.
LGR,
TPF,
there we
MAP, TAP.
go. Okay,
We have.
sorry, I had to be refreshed. I forgot all of those.
Yeah. And all of those are coming up, actually. I am doing 3 TPF today. That's why I came in with a minute to spare.
Very good.
Daniel, you're on a great path on that ideology of doing our own roads. Now, I firmly believe, based on what we're seeing and the feedback that we're getting are actually being pushed, that there will be a great deal of funding available if we're ready to meet it with one, desire, and two, timelines and some willing to kind of collaborate with those TPF and others, LGRF, et cetera. But there's a push to make our major feeder roads off of the NMDOT highways as kind of roads of the future, right? So they're looking at taking these major feeders, building them, taking them down to the dirt, building them back up. But then our responsibility would be taking more of the residential roads, et cetera, in the neighborhoods and connecting those to the major and minor feeders. So to make all of this happen, it's going to absolutely 100% take city-based road crews, but we will probably never stop with
Right.
LGRF, TPF, et cetera, because they're prepared to take some of these smaller, almost rural communities into well, it's kind of into the future with doing some of these IoT based roads and things like that. We're gonna have to do our part.
Do those still require a certain percentage of matching funds? 10%?
It depends, sometimes yes, sometimes no.
sometimes there's waivers for those.
Sometimes
Yeah,
we can get the
hardship
waivers,
waivers.
sometimes it depends on where we are, because we also have to send in our financials and they say, oh, we think that you can carry this. So somebody else gets the match, not you. And sometimes we do get the much bigger.
In kind,
Some of them you can do in kind, not all of them.
No, I agree with you, though. I think it's gonna be both of them working together, right? We have to hire contractors to do the
Yeah.
main big jobs that we have, but also at the same time, with as many workers as we do have, we can have them have a skill set for a few people to be building roads constantly.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So,
You're probably gonna see though, like the 18th Streets, the Globes,
right.
and things like that. That's probably gonna be contract and
Right.
things like that. For a
Yeah,
couple of reasons, but yeah, that's probably what you're gonna see.
exactly.
Billboards, or
18th, well,
Lime Street.
University's a good one, that would be Lime Street's an arterial as well.
yeah.
Same choose, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they did good.
I would go,
Yeah, so but this program that I'm looking at with this company would, it's gonna cost us. They said a small town like us is roughly $50,000 to $60,000 for them to come and do it. So this is where we're gonna have to make a decision. Is it worth bringing in a company like this? And what they do is they drive every road that's city Portales, and they assess it with and little lasers and cameras and everything that will basically photograph the entire road, tell us the cracks, how big they are, how deep they are, what needs, and then they'll give us an assessment of from 0 to 100 of where that road is, and kind of build us a maintenance plan of how we can keep our roads. And they said pretty much they'll let us know, okay, this needs, mill and fill, this one needs total replacement, or this one just needs a micro seal. And then we could actually plan better, especially when we do these grants. We can use that information for these grants to, we'll have a good game plan. So once I get a quote, I'll probably try to bring it to you guys and maybe a little presentation so you can look it over with us. We can make a decision.
and I'm not aware if it qualifies, but the CDBG planning grants, $50,000 grants we used to utilize them a lot for things like that. I'm not sure if that qualifies for that. It might look into it. See if it does.
We can look into it and see if it does.
We said a road discussed it as an item on the next agenda.
I'm sorry.
Discussion as an item on the next agenda. Discussion of roads as an item on the next agenda.
Oh, well, that's interesting you brought that up because you guys write the agendas. I said it's interesting because now you guys write the agendas. So as part of that, with the chair, the vice chair and the secretary, we'll collaborate with you, but you're responsible for writing the agendas and having those presented and adhering to the agenda as well. I'm sorry?
So we would present that to Ms. Parker to get it on the agenda.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we'll work with you to get that recorded into the city clerk's office, et cetera, and those types of things.
And you wanted parks as well, didn't you, Sandy?
parks
Didn't you
and
mention
cemetery,
What's that now?
parks? You mentioned parks for the agenda, or somebody did, I thought.
No, I said I foresee your agendas
Okay.
being fairly robust.
Okay,
Because at any given time, Pat's team has something going on in the cemetery, right? Cemetery expansion.
But I think we do need cemetery.
Did these
Yeah, so
Fees on the cemetery, all of these, that'll end up being a finance thing. But it also ends up being a public works thing under parks, et cetera. So I foresee you guys having a template that has a fairly robust template initially. To make sure you touch base with roads and buildings and parks and cemetery and et cetera. And then sometimes it'll apply, but sometimes it won't. But there's a heck of a lot of business in here. Glad y'all signed up for it because it's gonna be growing.
is there something, Mr. Mitten, just kind of twofold on this with the agenda and with the minutes? Is there someone I can send those to? I did send the last ones to you, but even these, just for a pre-approval till we get our legs underneath us and know.
100%. We're gonna completely
Okay,
embed with you to
perfect,
get
okay,
it going. So.
okay.
Do we have a deadline for our agendas? Do they have to be posted legally?
72
Yeah.
hours.
72 hours before the meeting?
Okay,
The meeting's on Thursday at 9:30.
okay,
I'm gonna, we're gonna say the 12th.
yes.
Okay.
So yes, you would definitely want to, you definitely want to have that in
Or there is- was-
So Friday. So maybe Friday, but sometime before 9 a.m. on, Monday.
Okay, let me write that down. So this next one for the 12th, you need it by when?
And
Well,
the
it's all
day
to be-
Friday.
the
And the day
ninth.
Friday or 9 a.m. on Monday.
The ninth, or 8th of February.
Okay,
Yeah, so it'd be, have to be 9 a.m. before 9 a.m. on the 9th or the end of the day on the 6th.
How does the public know what we're talking about right here, so we can get it ahead of the game, like water? You know, water is no longer public works, it's under the water committee. This is what we're doing, if it belongs to us, that's what we do. How does the citizens of Portales get to know this? What I'm saying is get ahead of the game.
Right.
Pat, just what you talked about, Chris Moyer wanted to do the same thing, and they tried to crucify him for that.
Okay.
So they, and I mean, their social media just went absolutely berserk.
Mhm.
So how do we get ahead of the game, sell this product before we ever start? And what good is it gonna provide the average Joe bag of donuts out here to be able to, what's good for him or her? So
Could
we
we
gotta
just-
get ahead of the game.
Just publish something on Facebook or social media. Here is our committees underneath. This is
Yeah.
what they do. Just something real simple. Just
Unless I'm off base, right? Unless I'm off base, all of the meetings that are scheduled for the city, we put them on the city's website. One, two, in the so we operate on draft agendas until almost the last hour where we publish the live agenda with supporting documents. And then that goes on the city's website as well as usually our copy. Print goes on the distribution board in City Hall. And I believe those, one more time.
That's telling her to pull the web page.
Okay, right. And those are our minimum requirements. Now, we don't want, pitchforks and, lanterns showing up, but those meet our minimum requirements. And if somebody wants to throw a fit over that, they can, but we've met our obligations when we do that in the correct amount of time. If we don't do it the correct amount of time and or we don't publish it like that at all, then the public has a right to throw a fit, and we are remiss and we're culpable in other forums for doing that. But, so that's the minimum, but Chris usually puts things out as well on socials and pushes things out on the Portales Facebook site, Instagram and others, saying, yay, verily, this meeting is gonna happen and so on. Go ahead.
that's kind of what I was thinking on Facebook, just like when y'all put out, okay, we had a water leak or
That's what I was gonna say,
good,
was,
good thing, bad thing. Here's a list of our committees. This is what they do underneath it and just post that and leave it at that. That way your people know what committee to talk to because they can see this and see what that committee is in charge of.
Yeah, I think I'm probably looking at you with my mouth hanging open a little bit because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we do majority of everything you talk about
Yeah.
right now, all that.
If you look up at the webpage, you'll see.
Your face, we'll see your face.
Andrew Net has pulled it up, and you go to government and then click on city boards and committees. And we have all the overview. We'll add more explanation because we redid the page when we had the election, and then you scroll down. And then you see here, we have our committees, and this is where either Danielle, me, or Melissa post agendas for, let's see if you so go down to the bottom to water with water advisory recreation board. You'll see the agendas and in the minutes, if you look at 2025, look on. They have rec board, their meeting minutes, the drafts and stuff, all that's there.
And so that's there, and then, would you go to the homepage, the landing page, please? And scroll down, and I think there's an active calendar, just if you
All the
go.
way to the bottom.
So right here on this right side, as these meetings are scheduled, they go here as well on the landing page. You know,
An event is created on Facebook with all the committees too.
And we're gonna continue to work through these. We're doing a lot of public engagements. You know, we were at the senior center today, Rotary Club yesterday, town hall meeting on Tuesday, whichever day Tuesday was. You know, they all run together there. But in the town hall meeting, you know, some communication things came up and there were some really fun examples of, well, maybe you should print out paper, pin them on trees or whatever. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but we will continue to work through public engagements with the team, not the public. It's a push-pull thing. We push as much as we can on these things, but the public, the ones with pitchforks and lanterns, you know, that they gotta kind of do their part too. I mean, like, we can't exactly use carrier pigeons and, you know, flying banners to let everybody know. They gotta do their part to look for some of these things. But we'll post them on more than the required things and more than normal. But I think we're gonna saturate it pretty well to your question.
Well, it's all available for this to look for. All that information is out there.
It is for the folks that wanna put the, you know, Xbox down for a second.
You can click on our webpage and you sign up for alerts for the capacity and the events every time I add something, it sends you an email.
I think something that Mr. Mitten did just today, which was, I thought was a great idea, was you posted a short letter about,
That was Pat and those guys.
oh, was it about a short letter about the tank levels dropping and just reminding people, hey, if you see something that doesn't look right, get in touch with somebody because, you know, there was a leak. There may have been more than one leak, I don't know. But it caught my attention because it was something other than just a regular social media post. It was just a short letter saying, hey, this is what's going on right now. And I thought that was a great way to get the word out. And it certainly made me think to keep my eyes open that maybe it's not just ice melting, maybe it's something more than that.
I think if all of y'all have noticed that, you know, there's a whole bunch of new leadership here, new public works director, obviously new management. So things are in the process of changing right now. So you are part of that change. And you know, this group is autonomous. You don't have to sit here and wait for somebody to push something to you. I would like to see it also be a creation type group. I would love to see everyone here go out and seek ideas and seek funding. It doesn't have to wait till somebody puts something on your plate. We're looking for your ideas as well. So I think it's very important. Everybody here has experience somewhere in specialized areas. So in the social media, all that stuff is getting better and better and better. Videos, the appointment of a secretary to each board to take care of the minutes and the agenda is going to assure that there's always minutes in the archive. And so anyways, all those things will be getting better. And if you have input on it, by all means, it's welcome.
Very good. At this time, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Meeting adjourned.